Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my July garden tour. I'm just going to be taking you around my garden and showing you what everything is looking like in the month of July. Summer is flying by, as I'm sure all of you are feeling that way. The weekends fill up with lots of things to do, lots of parties and celebrations and commitments, special occasions. And then before you know it, we're halfway through. Here I have some compact rose sun patience in my front yard, underplanted under my celebration maple tree, along with some lemon coral sedum. And these have done really well. This is my first year with the sun patience. What I have noticed is that they need lots of water for sure, and especially with them planted underneath my celebration maple tree. I don't have drip systems in place in my garden, so every morning I felt like these were a bit high maintenance, but I really like how they're looking. Every morning I would pull the sprinkler out and give them a good watering for about an hour in this zone here and also by my mailbox. And I felt like, that has kept them looking really nice. And here's my celebration maple tree, looking lush and beautiful. I remember when we planted this tree, it was not this big. It has grown so tall, and I love how it looks. I'm just going to take you over to our mailbox, and this is where I have the other compact rose sun patience planted. I have 4 of them here by my mailbox, and they stand out beautifully. I don't know that I like how they look with my sedum in the front here, but it's, it's good for this year. I like to change things up every year anyway, so I have my little blue stem grass that's struggling to get rid of the brown underneath there. And right here I have lime zinger sedum, and I think this is, I always forget the name of that one, but I think it's dazzleberry. And I also have one tucked in the back there. Let me come around and show you. I don't have the tag for this one, but I really love this one. It's just has a beautiful mounding habit, and just a beautiful shade, lime green shade to it with a little touch of rose pink that plays nicely against this sun patience. Look at the color on those sun patience. Beautiful. This is just a shot of the garden bed on the south side of my driveway. I haven't given too much attention to this bed after I organized and removed some of the ornamental grasses, but I know it'll happen in time. But the geranium roseannes are taking care of things for me. They're looking really beautiful and full and lush. And I really feel like they have really spread out this year. and they just keep blooming all season long. I just feel like they are a workhorse of a plant in the garden, and I just recently purchased a couple other different varieties of geraniums, hardy geraniums. I got them for $4 each on the clearance section at a local nursery. So not quite sure where I'm going to pop them in, but I hope they perform just as good as the geranium Roseanne has. I'm just walking to the front of my house, and you can see my Stella de Oro daylilies are still pushing out some blooms, but you can see for the most part a lot of the seed heads have formed, and the seeds are inside of these little pods here. I really have so many Stella de Oro daylilies. They really need to be divided and taken down a bit. You can see where my Junior Walker catmint has started to flush out after I have pruned them. You can see how lush and green. They just come back so nicely. And I cut them right down to the ground. Golden Globe arborvitae. My dwarf ornamental pear tree. Take a closer look here at that. You can see some of the little ornamental pears peeking out. And my nice hedge of Hicksue right behind it, pushing out some new growth on the top. You can see just beyond the Hicksue are my hosta. I'll take you around and show you those hosta. I usually don't go around to that side of the house. These hosta are just doing their own thing here, just blooming away. And I don't know the varieties of these hosta. They were given to us by a neighbor when we first moved in. A neighbor who still lives behind us. I should ask him. He's an older gentleman, if he knows the variety of hosta for these two. But they're beautiful. This is Magic Carpet Spirea. This is my front window box that I have just left from the springtime. And I am just really proud of the flowers in this window box. They have not let me down. Let's take a closer look. Just beautiful. I never switched them out from my springtime planting. I had every intention of changing these flowers out, but they just kept on delivering. Look at that. Look at the colors of those pansies and violas. They have been loving each other ever since they've been planted together here. And the vinca vine that's still spilling down and trailing down and starting to meet up with the autumn gaiety euonymus, the variegated. I always call it autumn gaiety. It's emerald gaiety euonymus. And you can see it's starting to do its thing and trail and meeting up with the vinca vine. I have 3 of them in the front here. But I just wanted to also mention that I was really pleased with the raspberry eclipse daylily that I have in the center here. This has been beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. The only thing is, I don't know what happened to my blooms. It's a daylily, so the way I was understanding it is that, you know, the blooms lasted a day and then they were spent and then you could remove them. So what I was doing was when the bloom closed and was ready, was pretty much spent, I would pluck it off and it would pluck off pretty easily. So I was plucking, and now there's no more blooms that are coming up. I don't know if, this is going to sprout up something new, but I also looked it up and I believe you are supposed to deadhead, deadhead those spent blooms and it's supposed to generate more blooms, but that just recently stopped for me, the blooming. So if anyone has any explanation for that, let me know in the comments. And here I am right in the front of my house at my front door, just giving you an update on my containers on my front porch. Everything is looking pretty good. My lemon coral sedum is starting to fill out. This container here with my blue stem grass, creeping Jenny. What else do I have in here? Diamond frost euphorbia, creeping Jenny. This is the blue stem grass. And oh gosh, let's see if I can remember it. It's something like Goodnight Kiss. Let's see. Let's find it. Yes, I was right. Goodnight Kiss, Calibrachoa. And just behind that, I have this container here that I've really been loving. The Rockin' Fuchsia Salvia has been beautiful. I really love the color and the bloom on that. And I also have a Sweet Caroline sweet potato vine in there. There is Dichondra Silver Falls. And this banana cherry petunia has looked better. Still beautiful, but it's looking a little tired. I did give them a good watering yesterday. We'll have to see if we can pay a little bit more attention to them today. And also in this pot is the curly whirly grass. You can see some of the corkscrew grasses coming out. I really love that corkscrew grass. I just think it is so fun. Let me know if you've planted this before. It is just so fun. And I believe that this is actually considered a perennial in my zone if I were to plant it out. And here I have my shelf, my garden shelf, my outdoor garden shelf. I meant to add a couple more things to this shelf, but it just never happened. So it still looks beautiful. Let's take a closer look here. Up top, I have some double impatiens. This is the salmon color doubled impatiens. And this is another salmon color. They are called Glimmer Summer Impatiens. They've been blooming pretty well. And this one down here is the Glimmer Hot Pink double impatiens with some Vinkavine. And my birds have flown the nest. If you saw in my June garden tour, I had a robin nest in my front door wreath. She laid 3 eggs, and I watched those little baby birds grow up, and as you can see, they're all gone. They're all gone. They left a little bit of a mess up there. Not too bad though, and it was honestly worth it. To me, it was worth it to watch that miracle unfold. And I think this is my favorite combination for the season on my front porch here. And my front porch combination, it was completely different last year. Had a couple, I think I did have the dichondra in here, but my front porch combination that I did last year also was my favorite. And this year it just happens to be my favorite again. Let's take a look. I just love the colors. I have a Sedona Sunset Coleus on the right, Freckles Coleus on the left, and just the Banana Cherry Petunia with the Dichondra Silver Falls. And I just love the cascade effect of that Dichondra Silver Falls. Just soft and elegant. I've been kind of raving about this plant ever since I, planted it last year, but it's just so delicate and beautiful. Highly recommend that. And then I also have some Vinca vine, and hidden and tucked back in the back here. I put it in the back because it was getting a little bit too much sun in the middle. This is the Empress Wu Hosta that I had from last year. I thought I was going to plant that out, but I don't know where I'm going to put it yet. So it's going to be living in this pot probably for another year or so. But I have been really pleased with this combination. I just think the colors are just so attractive. Just so beautiful. And these are just some of the shrubs I have in my front bed here. Just some more Emerald Gaiety Euonymus, some Golden Globe Arborvitae, my creeping juniper. That is creeping. And the flaming carpet sedum that I've still been loving. I really think this is beautiful. I think it's comprised of 3 different kinds of sedum. The Angelina is the bright chartreusey kind of green color. The blue spruce is the taller blue colored sedum in there, and then the red is called Voodoo. And I love shades of green, so I really love this sedum. And that right next to that, I have Sigmund Sieboldi, which that one is not doing much this year. And it looks like something broke off here. Yep, I don't know. We'll see. I know I can stick this right in here and it'll start to root. That's the wonderful thing about sedums, is it is not hard for them to root. And as you can see here, anything that kind of falls off of this plant, see, it starts to root itself. So all these little babies that fall off, they're starting to root. And they're easy to remove too if you don't like that aspect of it. And here we are on the south side, and I'm going to be taking you into the backyard. And I'll show you what this garden bed is looking like as we walk towards the backyard. This is, I don't have names for my garden beds, but I would like to start naming certain garden beds, and I think this one is kind of evolving into a little cottage garden. So I'm going to think of a sweet little name for this little cottage garden, but it's coming along nicely. I have my 2 trellis up against the fence. Oh, that sun is really going to start shining brightly. And up against the trellis, I have my clematis. I really just have one variety left because the clematis that was on the outer aspect didn't really come up at all. There's a little bit that sprouted, but it was really the clematis Haldane that performed for me this year. And let's see if there's any blooms left. I'll insert some footage of what it looked like when it was in bloom. It looks like it's starting to flush out again at the top there, but it's a white bloom. And on the outer aspect, I had the Clematis General Sikorsky, which is a purple bloom, but that has not come back for me. Let's see, let's take a look here at this little bloom here. There we go. Hello, Clematis Haldane. And then right underneath it, you can see the spent bloom, which I think is just beautiful as well. This is a blue cushion English lavender. Many of the blooms have, oh, excuse me, Mr. B. Not too many blooms left, I was going to say, but that little bee is finding what's left. Definitely finding what's left. Isn't it just beautiful to watch? Here I have little gold star Rudbeckia, black-eyed Susan, and I have the compact coneflower echinacea. I think it's just called the compact rose coneflower. And I have 4 emerald gaiety euonymus. And I like to take my time with what I place where, so all of my garden beds are going to have lots of room left for planting, and I will get there when I'm ready. So I know I'd like to add more to this garden bed here. Sometimes I just take kind of a long time to make a decision. But I like how this is looking so far. And I would like to replace this General Sikorsky clematis with something else that can complement the other clematis and, you know, look beautiful against the trellis. Why don't we start moving into the backyard? Just as you come into our backyard, we have put up a pergola arbor in the springtime. This is the Kinsman Garden Company pergola arbor. And we have planted 2 generous gardener roses at the base on each side. Let's see how these generous gardener roses are doing. Not an extreme amount of growth there, but you can see there's some new red shoots coming up on this side. To be honest with you, I haven't done much since I've planted it. I have watered it, but I didn't even feel like there was anything to train just yet. This is like my first time with a climber, so I'm really just observing and learning. Just kind of watching what it does this season. I know it's not going to, go crazy this season. So I'm just reading up about it and getting ready, for the future, and knowing that I'm going to have to start training it up the arbor in a lateral or horizontal way in order to get my blooms so I can have rose blooms from the bottom to the top. And here I have the golden flame spirea with my Hixius along the back there. This beautiful tree is a snow fountain weeping cherry tree. And I do have a couple of Stella de Oro daylilies underneath here that I decided to prune these two all the way down to the ground because they were kind of unruly and unsightly looking, a little bit more sloppy than the ones in the front. So I did give them a good healthy chop, and I like what I'm seeing. I like the new growth that's emerging. It's looking healthy and a lot better to look at as it's coming up than what was left there before. We're just coming up upon my limelight hydrangea. It's amazing to me how tall and beautiful this hydrangea got. I really pruned these hydrangeas hard in the fall, actually. I did it in the fall this year. So really looking beautiful. You can see how big those blooms are, and it's just getting started. So it's going to have a great season, I think. Oh, I'm just noticing that I have these new little garden tags. This one kind of came out that I got on Amazon. And let's see. Yeah, limelight hydrangea. I really like these. They're just a pretty accent in the garden. And if you have people over, it's just kind of nice. They can see what it is that you've planted. I just stick that in there. I can link those in the description box if anyone is interested. They're inexpensive. They're not anything too pricey. And this is the bed right alongside my patio that I have 3 golden vicary privets. This is a semi-deciduous shrub, so it does lose most of its leaves for the winter time. And so if you're thinking about a privacy hedge, you have to take that into consideration, but it does fill out nicely once, the summer starts rolling around. You do get some good coverage and some good privacy. But like I said, it will drop its leaves. On the end there, I have another limelight hydrangea, and underplanted, I have early bird catmint underneath. And I do have space to add on. We extended this bed, and I would really like to move the early bird forward and then maybe underplant with some type of an earlier blooming hydrangea. I think would be beautiful. This is my hummingbird loving container. So this is just a purple fountain grass. as my thriller. And then coming down here, this is it's a lantana, the Luscious Cosmo Royale lantana. You can see back in there, there's some better blooms. I have the Vermillionaire right here. This is the Vermillionaire that attracts the hummingbirds. Let's see if we can get a better picture of that with the little trumpet buds. And I also have the Pure White Butterfly. That's this white daisy looking flower. I think that's called Pure White Butterfly. Let me double check. Yep, Pure White Butterfly from Proven Winners. And I know I have an osteospermum in here, but I don't think it's been blooming in a while. And I think you can see some of I think this is the osteospermum. Not much going on there. It bloomed initially and then kind of stopped. And then, of course, I have a lot of Vincovine this year because they were all very cheap at my local nursery. So I picked up a ton and I've been putting them everywhere. I'm just coming back here to show you our new garden bed that is still not planted up, and we will get there eventually in time. Meanwhile, it filled with weeds. Isn't that sweet? My son Everett was very helpful in weeding for us, and actually he and I tackled it together recently. So they've been kept at bay for the moment, and we'll be planting this bed up maybe in the fall, towards the end of summer. It's just been busy, and I'm going to be going away with my son Everett for another baseball tournament, and then we're going on vacation. We're going to be going to the Outer Banks. So lots of fun things. So the planting up of this bed is on the back burner for the moment. This is another little lime hydrangea. This is a new transplant to this area. I moved it from another area in our yard, and it's looking okay, but definitely some yellow leaves here. And not quite sure if it needs water or it's overwatered. It's definitely next to this river birch tree. I have 2 river birch trees in this bed, so maybe he's hogging the water for this hydrangea. But we have had quite a bit of rain too, so it could be that it's gotten a lot of rain, a little too much water. And I do have clay soil here. I'm in zone 6B in Western New York, so I do have hard clay soil that holds on to water too. So not quite sure, but it's not looking too bad. And okay, I just purchased this recently, and I'm going to forget the name. I think it is a Over the Moon Astilbe by Proven Winners, and it has beautiful black foliage that'll have some beautiful plumes that shoot up. I'll see if I can attach a picture so you can see what it will look like. But I thought it would be a nice accent against this little lime. And I'm also thinking about, because we do usually have like black mulch, so it's not going to make this foliage pop. Thought about adding some pretty lighter stone just surrounding the area of the astilbe to kind of help it stand out a bit more. Oh, you can see the weeds are back over here. What the heck? Again, we have more violas here than pansies. There's some pansies on the outer aspect there, but just looking beautiful. And again, the same issue here. I was plucking off the spent blooms, and all of a sudden I have no blooms. But let me tell you, that raspberry eclipse daylily was beautiful while I did have the blooms. Just coming over on this side too, because you can see I have some pansies there. You can see some of the hot pink bloom there on that neon flash spirea. Okay, just walking around here. Oops, I just interrupted some birds who have been loving this bird feeder, but making a complete mess, making an absolute mess. And I will share with you, I do love, absolutely love this feeding the birds. I have enjoyed it immensely. I am a new bird feeder, so new to the world of birds. So let me just say this bird stand has multiple feeders that you can put on it, and there's a section for water. That little cone thing on the bottom is to prevent, you know, any critters from climbing up, like squirrels, or I don't really have squirrels, but in my case, like, I think it's going to protect the birds a little bit from, there is a cat that is around at times. But if you notice, this is what happens when you feed the birds. Oh, my shadow is going to get in the way. Hold on, let me go around. Let me go around the other side. This is what happens when you feed the birds, I guess. All the seed falls into your garden bed, and oh my goodness, I have all kinds of things sprouting up here. All kinds of things. You can see some of that leftover feed, and just little things that sprout up, and they're very easy to pull up. They come up real easily, but there's a ton of them, so we're just going to have to dig all this out at the end of the season. There's a little white compact coneflower there. That's not too impressive. Not too impressed with this one. It's very small, very tiny. Doesn't really do much for my garden, so I don't know. That's all I really have to say about that one. This is the wildberry heuchera. Love that plant. Really falling in love with heuchera. My endless summer bloom-struck hydrangea. Beautiful. Still really loving how these are looking, and I know that they'll get better as the years go on. Here's my other bloom-struck hydrangea. You can see it's just full of buds and new healthy shoots, getting ready to bloom some more. I guess that's why they call it bloom-struck. And my peachberry ice primo. This is a new Coral Bells heuchera that I got this year from Proven Winners. I just have in a pot. It's a beautiful color. Beautiful leaf, beautiful color. Beautiful. And this is just a little pot that I planted up here. This is just an ornamental grass from my divisions in the front bed. When I divided the grasses in my front bed, I just grabbed clumps and put them in various containers this year with the Dichondra Silver Falls, just in this purple watering can planter. And just walking over here to these containers. This is my other hummingbird container with the purple fountain grass. A lot of the same as the other container, the Cosmo Royale, Luscious Cosmo Royale Lantana. You can see there, the little blooms. I have some Vermillionaire, the Creeping Jenny, and oh gosh, what's this one called? This yellow, let's see, Golden Butterfly. And I think I did have an osteospermum over here too. Looks like it's starting to bud up, but it's like once you get that first flush that not really a lot has been happening. And here I just have a hot pink double impatiens with the vinca vine and another little piece of grass with the Dichondra Silver Falls as well. Our fat Albert blue spruce trees are doing well. They still have the new growth. The icy blue tips of the new growth is still pretty apparent, and that's just beautiful. I love the winter interest, and these are just so hardy looking and just, wonderful, a wonderful accent in your garden. And my Vanderwolf pyramidal pine. This is really looking nice as well. I think I've mentioned this before, but it's just so very soft. So very, very soft. I love that quality about this evergreen. And, it's missing quite a few needles, in this one area here. I guess it is over here too, but I don't know if that's just the way it's supposed to look, because it is growing some, but some of them are brown and coming out. I just hope that it's going to stay healthy, because if I look down here, oops, my shadow's getting in the way. It's bare down here, so you can see. So maybe that's not an issue up top. But it's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I would highly recommend this, in anyone's garden. I'm not sure of the hardiness zone. I can put that up on the screen, but just a beautiful option for a specimen piece in your garden. And you can see, it drops needles there. You can see if that bothers you. You can always, rake those up. The Vanderwolf pyramidal pine. And we're just going to keep walking here. I have a few miscanthus type grasses. Not sure of the exact variety. Those are crimson cutie barberries. And this is my summerific, very awesome hardy hibiscus. And still waiting on the blooms. They bloom late here in my zone 6B. You can see it's just about ready. Just about ready. Although when I was in a local nursery, they were all bloomed up, I guess because they're in the greenhouse. So these should be exploding any day now. This was the very next morning. And I'm just going to give you a quick look at my containers over here so you can see how they're doing. This is my Feather Falls Carex. There's 2 of them here, and I really think I can eventually just have one here. This one here can fill out that whole space, and I can remove one of those and divide it, I think, and put it elsewhere in the garden. These are my summer containers that I planted out about a month ago, I think. We've got the Ruby Slippers Coleus with the, I think it's Baby Tut. Or is it Prince Tut? Let's see. Let me look really quick. Baby Tut. Yep. Okay. The Baby Tut, which is this umbrella type grass. And I do have the this is a Nemesia, a Romance Mulberry Nemesia. I knew it would come to me. And again, the Dichondra Silver Falls. And just behind that, I have graceful grasses, the graceful grasses indigo grass. I am really enjoying this container. This red salvia is very happy here at the top as my thriller. And again, I have the Bada Boom mix of begonia. And that one's a pink color with the lamb's ear. I want to say it's the silver lining lamb's ear, but I'll be sure to put that on the screen. And just a vinca vine. And that's just been beautiful. I have another hardy hibiscus. This one is Perfect Storm. A little bit not as farther along as the Berry Awesome, but you know, right behind it, not too far behind it. And the same planters I have on the other side. Graceful Grasses Indigo, and the same combination on the end of my retaining wall here. This is my Endless Summer original hydrangeas. And take a look at this Ivory Halo Red Twig Dogwood. It's so happy in this spot. It's really just extremely happy. It's just beautiful. I feel like I could just like lay down and take a nap in this dogwood. It's just gorgeous. And you can see it's starting to move when the wind hits it. There's not much wind today, but it's beautiful for movement. And looking at our arborvitaes, they have been doing really well, and I really haven't done anything to them, really. I have to be honest. I have just left them. We generally get enough rain. We have periods of drought, but our summers, especially the last few summers, we have gotten significant amounts of rain, and that it can be helpful in some instances. So it's helpful to my new plantings, like these arborvitaes or my Thuja green giants, or the trees that have been planted. But I guess it can hurt other plants, like my tomato plant that I'll show you in a minute. This is the Autumn Joy sedum. You can see it's starting to bud up. I just love green. I want to say that's one of my favorite colors, really, is green. So this is coming up like just like a lime green, and it'll turn a burgundy color. And it looks good for quite a long time into the fall season. Just take a close-up look at that birch tree bark. Isn't that cool? We have our Hamlin grass that's doing well. The other two grasses, they're moving along, but I don't know, there is some growth there. Still wondering what I should do with those for next year. I do have our northern gold forsythias that have all turned green for the season. They only bloom in the springtime, a beautiful yellow color, but the rest of the seasons, they are, green in the summer, and in the fall, they then start to drop their leaves for the winter time. And this is a Jack Frost Heartleaf Brunnera. That looks really especially beautiful in the springtime. And this is a This is a new Coral Bells. And let's see if I have a tag in here somewhere because I don't remember the name. Yes, I do. Yay. That's why it's important to keep your tags. This is called Fun and Games I Spy Hookerella. And let's see. I like the color on this one. This easy to grow perennial is prized for its attractive foliage and its bubblegum pink flowers that bloom for many weeks. Amber yellow spring foliage has deep red centers and mellow to chartreuse green with a silver overlay. Okay, we're just finishing out the garden tour here for July. This is another limelight hydrangea. And this is my candy mint crabapple. This is another area where I have a bird feeder, and boy, these birds, they have been happy. But they have been eating the bird feed so quickly. I felt like when I first started filling, it took about a week. Now it takes like a day and a half, and they come in and they wipe it out. And again, you can see underneath, I have quite a mess. It's not bothering me. It's just, well, I guess it's bothering me a little bit. But I guess that's just the reality of it. When you want to feed birds, you're going to have, some mess underneath as well. So, but we'll clean that up at the end of the season. And this is my bed on the other side of the patio that I just have my blue mouse ears hosta that has finished blooming, and more daylilies and spirea back there. And same on this side. Daylilies, hosta, spirea. That plant in front of the spirea is a euonymus. It is called winter creeper euonymus. It's a variegated leaf, and it's from Proven Winners, but I believe it's been discontinued. And I don't know if it's because it's considered invasive, but I never, oh my goodness, never have a problem with it. It's starting to trail a bit here, but I can easily trim that, and I've never had an issue with it. I think the Emerald Gaiety euonymus in the front is more of a gangster trailer than this one is. So, but that's what it's called, winter creeper. Look at those beautiful berries. Aw, look at those beautiful berries on my candy mint crabapple tree. Really pretty. And you can hear the neighborhood is starting to wake up. I like to do my garden tours early because it's nice and quiet, but everyone's starting to wake up now, and that's okay. Right here in this container, I have my morning light miscanthus as my thriller. Again, that was a grass taken from the front of my house when I, divided and removed some grasses. Sunset, Sedona Sunset Coleus, that beautiful red salvia. And I really am amazed by these salvia I got for free with a purchase at a local nursery. And I picked up several, and they just have done beautifully. Kind of made me wonder why they were giving them away for free, but they were beautiful. And then underneath here, I do have, it's kind of hiding underneath this coleus, but more bada boom begonia. And my vinca vines. Here is the elevated garden bed that has a lot of luscious growth from the zinnias, and you can see they're they're beginning to get ready to open up and bloom. I have 3 different varieties here. This section is Persian carpet. Then in the middle, not too many of these germinated, but this is the green envy, zinnia. And actually this is more green envy here too. And then this section over here is the cut and come again. Okay guys, this is one of my little garden struggles is my tomato plants. I'm determined to figure out tomatoes. I am new to tomatoes and to vegetables really. I've done a few different vegetables, and I have had a raised garden or a garden bed in my old house briefly for one season before we moved. I'm looking at this tomato and I know that I think I've done it wrong. This is an indeterminate, so I know it's a vining type that, needs to grow up. I'm looking at the leaves. I see the yellow, and from what I've been reading, I could be overwatering it, which that's a possibility because we've gotten so much rain, and I've also watered on top of the rain. So that's a possibility. I think I was reading it could be a lack of nitrogen. And it could be the wrong type of soil. I do have compost mixed with potting soil in this bed. If anybody has any input, I have to tell you, I didn't, I put this in the ground and watered it, and that's about it. So I know I need to dial it in if I'm going to be successful with tomatoes, and I will learn and I will grow from this. But see, it's almost like it's stopped growing because it had these green tomatoes, but they're not even soft. They're quite hard. Got my basil that's doing good. I'm going to clip some of that off today to keep it fresh. And I also have a couple tomatoes on the other side. This one's not looking too bad. This is a determinant tomato called Black Crim. So that one's not looking too bad. I believe this is an indeterminate. Let me see. I can't remember. This was an heirloom tomato, Black Prince. Let's see, what does it say? Oh boy. I'm going to have to look it up because I forget. But I kind of had it, going up my trellis. But all of a sudden, this one is looking a tad unhappy. So I'm going to try my best here. Do a little bit more homework and see what I can do to remedy this situation. I do think this one's looking good, though, although I don't see any tomatoes forming yet. And I just want to show you my containers on the back patio that have been looking really beautiful. I just have a yellow petunia. There was no specific name. I didn't have a tag for that. Mixed with the Proven Winners Supertunia Vista Jazzberry, which I think has really been beautiful, this combination. And it's really helped the clematis. My clematis was looking kind of rough. This is an early blooming clematis, so it's already bloomed out. And then I didn't have my petunias planted yet, so I feel like the roots of this clematis got a bit scorched, and they weren't happy with that. But once I got the petunias in place, it was liking it a lot more, and I can see a lot of new green leaves coming up here. My shade planter is doing well. This is a Riger begonia with fishnet stockings by Proven Winners Coleus. And this is a wedding train coleus. It's a trailing coleus along with an asparagus fern. Lou, are you going to sleep all morning? Lou, are you going to sleep all morning? That's okay, you can. You're allowed. Are we ready to go inside, Luce? Huh? Are we done with our garden tour? I think so. Well, I just wanted to show my face and thank you all for joining me today. And I enjoyed showing you around the July garden. I just want to thank everyone for watching and supporting, and I appreciate all of my current subscribers and all of my new subscribers. I know I've gained several subscribers in the last 24 hours, and I sincerely appreciate that. I appreciate the support, and I appreciate you watching. So I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.